Module 10, Training and Drill Requirements. 12 minimum annual drills. Mandatory quarterly abandon ship and fire drills per crew member as required by SOLAS Chapter 3, Regulation 19. 24 maximum hours, legal limit for passenger safety briefing delivery after embarkation per SOLAS 3/19.2.2. 100% crew participation, complete personnel integration into vessel's muster list, and emergency procedures. Regular training and realistic drills form the cornerstone of effective emergency management on passenger vessels. The STCW Convention Section AV/2 mandates specialized crisis management training for officers, while SOLAS Chapter 3 establishes strict requirements for drill frequency, documentation, and scenario variety. This module examines the IMO regulatory framework governing both initial certification and refresher training, explores mandatory weekly and monthly drill protocols, and presents evidence-based methodologies for conducting drills that build genuine emergency response capabilities rather than mere compliance. Module 10, Crisis Management Drill Design. Basic drills. Focus on fundamental procedures with 48-hour advance notice under optimal conditions. Builds baseline competence and familiarizes crew with individual responsibilities. SOLAS requires at least 4 basic drills per quarter. Functional drills. Test specific emergency systems or teams with 12-hour advance notice and moderate challenges. Focuses on specialized response units like fire teams or evacuation groups. Minimum 2 functional drills required quarterly. Full-scale scenarios. Integrates multiple teams responding to complex emergencies with 4-hour notice and simulated adverse conditions. Combines elements like fire with subsequent flooding to test comprehensive response. SOLAS requires 1 full-scale drill per quarter. Surprise drills. Unannounced exercises during meal service, night hours, or passenger activities that test immediate response capabilities under realistic conditions. Builds readiness for unpredictable emergency timing. Scenario development, risk-based design. Creates scenarios incorporating vessel-specific risks from safety assessment documents with cascading complications that evolve over time. Test decision-making under uncertainty with incomplete information and 10 to 15-minute response windows. Realistic challenges. Simulate 25 to 50% communication equipment failures requiring backup systems. Include unexpected developments such as blocked escape routes or injured key personnel. Rotate through all 12 emergency types outlined in the vessel's emergency response plan. Passenger management. Involve passenger management with role players exhibiting panic, medical distress, and non-compliance behaviors. Practice coordination between bridge, engine room, and medical teams using standard communication protocols. Module 10, Effective Drill Evaluation and Feedback, Objective Assessment. Utilize 12-point checklist with designated observers assigned to specific response teams and locations throughout the vessel. Evaluators should receive annual assessment training and position themselves at critical decision points like the bridge, engine control room, and muster stations. Immediate debrief. Gather all participants within 30 minutes post-drill while maintaining watch duties. Record key observations on standardized forms. Measure quantitative metrics, muster completion within 10 minutes, lifeboat readiness in 5 minutes, alongside qualitative assessments. Positive reinforcement. Begin with 3 specific successes in communications, leadership decisions, and procedure adherence before addressing improvement areas. Feedback should identify specific behaviors to continue rather than general praise. Targeted improvement. Identify max 3 priority training needs with assigned responsibility and completion timeline for each item. Specify exact behaviors to modify rather than general criticism, e.g., radio communications should use standard terminology. Documentation. Complete ISM-compliant drill reports within 24 hours. Distribute findings to all departments with quarterly trend analysis. Create a non-punitive reporting system where procedural challenges are documented as opportunities for fleet-wide learning. Module 10, Continuous Improvement in Crisis Preparedness. Assessment. Conduct quarterly gap analysis comparing vessel response capabilities against IMO standards and company KPIs, evacuation times, mustering efficiency, communication clarity. Planning. Develop 90-day improvement plans addressing specific weaknesses identified in passenger management, crew coordination, and emergency equipment deployment. Implementation. Execute changes through targeted crew training modules, revise muster lists, and updated emergency response manuals with version control. Measurement. Evaluate through timed abandoned ship drills, passenger management scenarios, and benchmarking against fleet performance metrics. Crisis preparedness requires a commitment to continuous improvement rather than a one-time achievement. Vessel safety officers should conduct biannual reviews using the NTSB Maritime Incident Database and flag state advisories to identify emerging risks. Establish a 15-minute response time, benchmark for critical emergency actions, and track improvement over consecutive drills. Effective improvement processes engage crew members at all levels through monthly safety committee meetings and anonymous reporting systems to identify potential hazards before they become incidents. All procedural changes must be documented in the vessel's safety management system with clear revision histories and incorporated into crew handover procedures to maintain continuity of knowledge. Course summary and certification requirements. Knowledge assessment. To obtain certification, participants must achieve a minimum score of 75% on the written examination, covering crisis management principles and human behavior in emergencies. The assessment includes 50 multiple-choice questions and 2 scenario-based essay questions that evaluate crowd management techniques, communication protocols during emergencies, and panic prevention strategies, as outlined in STCW Section AV. Practical demonstration. Participants must complete 3 simulated emergency scenarios with a competent rating in all key areas. Passenger mustering, including handling disabled passengers, effective use of public address systems, and crowd control during evacuation. Examiners use standardized STCW Table AV22 rubrics to evaluate leadership demonstration, clear communication, and proper implementation of the vessel's emergency response plan. Certification validity. Upon successful completion, the STCW Passenger Ship Crisis Management Certification is valid for 5 years from the date of issue. Renewal requires a refresher course covering updated SOLAS regulations, review of recent maritime incidents, including the Baltic Princess 2022 case study, and demonstration of current competencies through practical assessment. Ongoing professional development. Maritime professionals are encouraged to complete the Advanced Passenger Vessel Safety PVS course offered quarterly at major maritime training centers. Monthly shipboard drills must include at least 1 crowd management component, and officers should maintain a personal development log documenting participation in at least 8 full-scale emergency exercises annually as recommended by the International Maritime Organization. This course has provided comprehensive training in the critical competencies required for effective crisis management and human behavior understanding aboard passenger vessels. The knowledge and skills developed throughout this program directly contribute to enhanced passenger safety and more effective emergency response, particularly in high-stress scenarios involving large numbers of passengers with diverse needs and capabilities.